Hey, this is Brandon at comc.com. You're watching Radicards TV at radicards.com.
What's up? This is Patrick at Radicards.com, and I'm going to walk you through really day 2 of the 2017 National Sports Card Collectors Convention in Chicago. So day 2, I've learned a lot about how I buy, which is interesting. I started thinking about the concept of, with multi-day shows, we learn about how we buy in terms of what not to buy and what to buy at a lower cost as the days progress. So let me give you an example. Like yesterday, I talked about how I paid for something when I first saw it, and then the next booth over, the dealers were selling that same card for a fourth of what I paid for it. Now, some might say, and there's validity here, so there's certainly some support, that maybe it's okay to wait until a couple days in to see if there are other ones. The only reason why I don't do that is because I don't know if I will see another one soon. In this instance I did, but I couldn't tell the future. If I did, I would be making a lot more money, right? But today I went through the entire show and I didn't see a third example of this card. The entire show. And I've already, at the end of day 2, I've already serpentined every row in the entire venue. I mean, I'm running. I'm not running, but I'm walking hastily through the show to ensure that I'm able to see the things I want to see. I make it a point to ask for Frank Thomas, wherever I can. It's been surprisingly sparse. Now there's some amount of modern autos, but I decided to stick to career year stuff, so 2008 and back. That said, it saves me from overspending on modern autographs that are pumped out in the hundreds every year. So that's a good thing. When I think about buying, I have to think that, especially in a show like this, when you might not see the same dealer twice because it's so big, I have to accept that if there's something that I saw at two encounters with the dealer back, not remembering where those dealers were, and I didn't buy that item, I let it pass, I accept that it's okay to let it go and move forward because there will be other opportunities in the future, whether it be that day, that week, or what have you. So there's that piece of it that I've learned to accept. The second piece of it is that it's okay not to get everything. It's okay not to spend your allotted budget for yourself in the show. My goal here isn't to spend all of my money. My goal here is to spend my time and enjoy myself. That means meeting people, building connections, building new and strengthening existing connections. Sharing this experience with the community. I've bumped into a lot of guys that I've known during my tenure in Los Angeles, and that was a really great experience for me. 3 gentlemen specifically I bumped into. It was really great to see them. I bumped into some of the fellows that I've known online for a time. I met them for the first time in person, which is great. I have to give credit to one of the gentlemen at comc.com. He had indicated that he reads my blog and he finds it helpful. I was really flattered by that. I felt very humbled by that. So that was really, really cool.
$25. Ronaldo. PS9 auto. So you want to get those for the raffle for that?
Oh, it's every single thing. Okay. Oh.
So you're going to get a card. Could be that one.
Okay. Either way, I'm super stoked that I did that. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, man.
Appreciate that.
Thanks for that.
A couple of guys I got to give credit to because I finally met them in person. Jared Cavley, owner of Pristine Auction, and Josh Wolkin, Vice President at Huggins & Scott Auctions. Great guys. Definitely check them out. Check out their auction houses. Fantastic people. And what else? All right, so today, I had a bit of a debacle. I want to share this with you. So I had gone to the end of an aisle, and I bumped into this gentleman who had been selling vintage, mostly vintage. So actually, surprisingly, this show is a good chunk of it is vintage, and it's nice to see. I like looking at old stuff. I like to take pictures of it. It's not stuff I see every day, so I like to archive those experiences. So anyway, this gentleman, this older fella, he had a couple of boxes of hammered, I mean, we're talking just beat to heck vintage baseball, and other sports too, but I was primarily interested in baseball. So, quite a few rows, and it was 90% off of book value, which is, and he said he would shave off even more if I bought, quantity. I picked out probably, I don't know, 20, 21, somewhere between 20 and 25 cards. I paid 20 for everything. And there was a 64 Topps Willie Mays that had been trimmed on both sides of the y-axis of the card, and then one of the corners was clipped. The bottom left corner, which would be here on this side for you. And, I wouldn't pay more than like $1, tops $2 for that card, even though it books at like $80, because it's not even a complete card anymore. Yes, it's Willie Mays, I get it, but if I were to spend, say, $8 on that, I'd rather put that $8 toward a better condition, fully intact, hammered 64 Topps Willie Mays card. This is just the way I think. Like, where's my money best spent? And I'm always thinking about this. I think it's because I've spent a lot of years in frugality and conscious spending, so I'm very careful with those transactions. There was a 59 Topps Warren Spahn with the back partially removed because it had been adhered to a scrapbook and then removed, so that happens. A 70 Topps high number Johnny Bench that had been folded in many places. It's just been rippled completely up. I wouldn't pay $8 a piece for these cards, but I would pay $5 for the whole 3. I couldn't close that deal on those. He wanted 10. Even at 10, I just couldn't do it because the cards are just not worth it to me. I can find them. They're available, so that's fine. I did acquire, 62 Aaron, a variety of things, which you can see here. Let's take a look at my binder. So this is the binder that I use to carry with me when I'm at the show, and I add things to it when I buy them. That way I can just take the cases back to the dealers and have them recycled through the hobby. So this is my binder. So I just want to kind of go through it this way, more of a visual history of what I've acquired so far, and make it a little bit easier for you to see it. So let's open it up here. Now you'll notice a common theme here. I'm into 80s classics. I've always been into them. It's just a theme in my book. So I'm gonna see if I can hold this here so that it stays up. Do the best I can. So let me see. I've got classics like Gwynn, Puckett, Maddox, Ripken. I know there's a Palmero here that's maybe some people might argue shouldn't be there, but it's actually in really good condition. I just like that card. So Barry Larkin. Some Bonds, Boomer Esiason, Puckett, Maddox, Leaf, more Bonds. Actually, these 4 here, these are Tiffany's. Thought they were cool. I don't see those too often, so acquired those. Really like those cards a lot. McGriff, Chipper Jones, Irod, Canseco, Bruce Sutter, Andre Dawson. Good stuff. I really like these cards a lot. Bonds, O-Pee-Chee. Okay. Bonds, Topps. Alright, so this, again, some Tiffany, glossy for Glavin. And then the McGuire's a Tiffany. Griffey. Of course, this is an interesting one. There's actually a manufacturer crease along the y-axis of the card. When I bought it, I specifically wanted it because of that reason. Then when I put it in this binder, I realized it's 2 separate cards. Both sides have separated, so it's the front with blank back and back with blank front, and they're very thin, but together they make the actual standard size 20-point card. And then 2 84 Don Russ Joe Carter rookie cards, a favorite of mine. Really like that card. And a Clemens Leaf rookie. Griffey 89 Classic. Griffey 89 Donruss Classic and Fleer. And Donruss Baseball's Best. I really like these Ozzie Smith cards. They're great. Consistently poor centering, as everybody knows. I got these for $4 a piece. I don't really care. Buy them for $4 a piece all day long. They're great. I don't see too many of them in bargain bins. They're just very popular cards. Always like that card though. You know, I bought this Favre rookie card. It's funny, I say Favre, but the V comes before the R in his name. It should be pronounced Favre, but I guess that's a problem. Anyway, I have two versions of this card. There's like a hollow foil finish, and then there's the non-hollow foil, which is this guy. So this would be nice to add to the archive, as to have the two different cards. Bruce Sutter, a Jeter. Of course, Jeter's a $1 box. Got to get it for that price. Dale Murphy, another Chipper. Bagwell Star, another Carter. Roberto Alomar, Jim Tomei. More Bonds. And then a 92 Topps Gold Shaq. You won't see that again in my binder tonight. That's the only one I've acquired thus far. Beater Vintage. Really love this stuff. I've acquired some pieces. They're hammer. They're tape residue, tons of creases, lots of corner damage, surface wear, pinholes, punch holes, cuts, marks, dings, edge batter. I mean, you name it. It's just like, and look at the spawn has 2 holes in it. And this ugly, probably the most hideous of all 73 Topps cards, the Reggie Jackson. It's got a crease through the x-axis here. And someone wrote over the Tony La Russa, Dick Green. I don't know why. This is strange to me, but again, that was very cheap. 64 Drysdale. It looks like it's been scraped along the ground for a while, or in a wallet or something. It's pretty battered. I get these because they're great. I just like the old vintage stuff in terrible shape. I don't know why. I think it's cool. 3 Blyleven rookies, all hammered. We got a 67 Drysdale and a 63 Tony Oliva rookie. Nice to have those. Jeter rookies. I get them when I can find them for cheap. Got an Ivan Rodriguez artist proof. We got a Dwight Gooden 91 Donruss preview card. That's actually quite a rare card. I've got a Griffey, but the goodness, you just don't see these. These are very, very hard to find. Bobby Bonilla 96 Pinnacle Aficionado first pitch preview. Very cool card to have. I like that. This is the 2000 Bowman Chrome Then and Now Refractor. I think it's Then and Now. I think that's what the set's called. Anyway, these are surprisingly hard for me to find, so I grabbed that. Another Jeter. 2 refractors from 94 Bowman's Best. I'm just casually working on the set. No hard commitment. Just when I find them, I grab them. These are the holographics, the gold versions. Kind of like those. Another artist proof for my 96 Pinnacle artist proof set. And 97 Score artist proof here for my set. Player's private issue for my, I think that's 97 Topps Gallery. Actually, it's 96 Topps Gallery. Wow. And then a couple more Griffies, Jeters, Omar Vizquel, another Johnny Damon rookie. This interesting Broder from '89 for Griffey. I should grab that. And I had not ever acquired this '89 Score card, Score Masters card. I had never had it, so nice to grab that. More Griffey rookies from '89 Classic. A couple of the career stat line type cards. I really like those. And a Pacific Parallel. I get those when I find them for cheap. Couple Pacific Parallels. Challengers for 70. I think that's what this one comes from. The Moban. This is the end. This is the parallel number to 600. Austin Kearns Refractor. 2 more cards from an '81 Topps signed set. Really dig those. I've been looking for Mike Scott for a while at a decent price. So I was glad to bring him home for a couple bucks. I put my Thomases in the back because I just like to keep a track of which ones I've gotten. So this is just miscellaneous stuff that I've acquired. I won't bore you with it too much, but I was really happy to find some of these for a bargain price. You know, this is a card. This is the base card of 2004 EX. I had been looking for the base card for forever. I think the lady had two. I bought them both, 50 cents each. Can't go wrong. First time I've ever seen this card, the base. I have two versions of the Essential Credentials now and two versions of the Essential Credentials Future, but I've never seen the base. So it was really nice to see these. This one here is a big purchase at 50 cents. This is the 98 Topps Gallery Players Private Issue. These are the points. And this is the 100 point variation. So there are four different versions, 25, 50, 75, and 100. And I've been looking for the 100 for a while, so I was glad to find that in the 50 cent bin. Just some other miscellaneous cards that I found. And more miscellaneous cards that I found. It's funny, this one here, this Amazing Greats, numbered to $6.99. Is it $6.99? Yeah. I've been watching one for a while on eBay. I just couldn't bring myself to pay like $8 for it. So that was a 50 cent card. I was very happy to bring that finally home, and that's that so far. Kind of glad to enjoy this binder and save space. I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you. I really like the concept of old battered vintage. I think it's a really cool thing, and to me, it's right into my budget. Right, I'm not having to spend 80, 100, multiple hundreds of dollars on nice vintage. Great to look at, total eye candy, but I can easily just as much enjoy a smash battered, you know, authenticated, completely intact example that has a lot of story behind it, a lot of love, a lot of character. It's enjoyed a life. And in some ways, I prefer to look at those because they come with such a story, and you can kind of think and wonder where they've been, what they've been through. You know, was this card in a wallet? Was it kicked around? Was it traded? Was it dropped several times? Was it used as a bookmark? You know, was it in a glove compartment? Was it thrown on the ground? Was it used as in a game in some way? Bike spokes, you know, you name it, all those cliches. These kinds of things, they get me thinking. And when my brain thinks about story and life, where it's been, I'm stimulated because I'm constantly thinking about new scenarios. And in a way, in some small, strange way, I feel like that makes me a little bit smarter. So in some interesting way, battered vintage cards make me smarter. I can't explain that. It's really cool, but I'm always thinking about this. Whereas if I see a gem mint pristine example, this card's been sheltered its whole life. It's never had a lived life experience. It's just out of the pack, put away forever, and then graded, and now it comes back to be, you know, gem mint example. Beautiful card, but you know, if I see one with residue on tape residue on, you know, three of the four axes, or let's see, three of the four edges, if you will. There are only two axes. I would think to myself that perhaps the one in lesser condition would come with many more stories that I can think about. That to me means a lot to me. So battered vintage is really important to me, you know, in that strange way. Plus I like to blog about it. I have a category where I talk about just hammered vintage cards, and it's just been fun for me. Anyway, so I cash out. The guy really wants to push these three cards on me for 10. I just couldn't do it. Gentleman next to me, he was like, you know what, I'll give you the extra 5. You can buy the cards. I was like, you know, I can't do that. I appreciate the gesture, but honestly, like, I wouldn't allow myself to take credit from somebody else to make my purchase for me. It just wasn't really my style. So I had to politely decline the opportunity to acquire those 3 cards and pursue the stack for 20 that I acquired originally. So I went about my business, shook hands, said, you know, thanks so much, great meeting you, good luck to you, and I went about the show. Went down the alley, or the row anyway, aisle if you will. Got about halfway down the convention center, and I found this entire, this lady had so many boxes of cards all separated by team. Everything was 50 cents and up, depending on what it was. If it was unsleeved, it was 50 cents. Found a few Thomas cards that I had been looking for a while for 50 cents, so that was really nice. 2004 EX base card. For some strange reason, that base card is like impossible. But I acquired 2 copies today, which is great. You're probably thinking, why do you buy 2 combos? Well, seriously, if something's so rare and I can get it for 50 cents, what's 50 cents? So I picked up that. Another big piece was the 1998 Topps Gallery Players Private Issue 100 points version. There are 4 different versions, 25, 50, 75, 100. I've been looking for the 100 version for a while. So anyway, bought $3 worth of cards, so 6 cards, and then I cash out. The lady wants 4. She gives me back 17. I'm like, hey, you gave me 17. I thought it was 4. Thanks, give me 16. She said, you're an honest guy. You can keep the extra $1. I was like, thanks. So honesty pays. I'm the proof of it, right? Anyway, I have my 6 cards, and I'm like, great. I'm going to put these in this bag that I carry around, with me. And I realized, well, crap. Where's my bag? Not the one in my backpack. This little bag that I've been adding to all day with its individual buys. I realized I had left it at the vintage card seller that I was looking at previously, his inventory. So I'm like speed walking. I'm speed walking back, almost running back to this dealer booth. I get there, and my bag is gone. And mind you, I had been at the show now for a number of hours, so I had a stack in this bag. I didn't really mention this specifically, but I put the bag down before I started looking at the vintage cards when I was shopping there. And when I cashed out, I just walked out with them, just completely forgot about grabbing my bag. So when I noticed I didn't have my bag, I really was concerned. So when I went back, I told the dealer, I was like, hey, I left my bag here. Did anybody come and was anybody looking at this stuff? And he's like, no, you've been the only guy. So I walked over where I was sitting, and he had his son on the phone. He said his son grabbed my bag and put it behind the counter. And I was like, dude, I'm so thankful, so grateful that happened, and it was a real treat for me not to have to go through the loss of a negligent error on my part, complete erroneous judgment on just an airhead moving away. And I think what it was is that I had my bag next to me and I was shopping here, my bag was here, and I'm really getting into the cards. So when I get the cards, I just kind of walked up and walked around, and I was like, hey, how much for these? I didn't even think to remember that I put my bag down. I was so into the moment. It's kind of what the hobby can do for you. It kind of, it's sort of transcendent in that way. It puts you into a different place. Anyway, long story short, I got my bag. Gentleman, he had it behind the counter, so I grabbed it, and I was so thankful. It made my day to know that I had lost my bag of purchases for the day. I had a backpack on. You're probably thinking, Patrick, why don't you just put stuff in your backpack? I had stuff in my backpack already, so I was kind of like full of stuff, trying to like free up hands or whatever. It was a it's a good experience for me to get my bag of purchases back. So anyway, I continued through, and I was able to find some other purchases. I bumped into some more people I knew from California, and it was just a really great day. And I was pleased to get what I had gotten. I've tallied it so far in day 2, the end of day 2. I've acquired 30 new Thomases since I've been at the show between yesterday and today. Most of it's low end. In fact, all of it's low end. It's 50 cents to like $5 for everything. I haven't spent more than that for a card. It's okay. I've had a good time. If I find more, great. If I don't, that's great too. Still having an awesome time here. This is a show that I recommend you go to if you can finance it. It's certainly worth the experience, and one of those troves of memories that you build to take with you, and you use this experience the next time you shop. When I first came here in 2012, not here specifically, but to the National, which was in Baltimore at the time, I was kind of green with the show because it was my first one. I would say it kind of was. I was green with the show. That was my first National. Didn't really know what to expect, how much money to bring, what to wear. I mean, I really had to learn by doing at that show. 2 Nationals later, I went in 2015 and 2017. It seems like every other year. Well, actually, no, it would be 12 and 15. That's a 3-year difference, but 15 and 17, yeah, 2 years. Anyway, knowing now what I know from my experience, I've learned a lot about how to buy, really how to communicate with dealers as well. Be welcoming as much as you can, just regardless if you're buying anything, and make it a good experience for them as well, because they're doing business. You know, they're working, and you know, as a customer, as a passionate customer, to present them with a degree of enthusiasm that they may or may not have seen with every customer. It might and augment their experience as a dealer. So just know that to do our part as customers, our behavior makes a big impact on the totality of the experience, both for us and the person from which we're buying. So in that instance, communication is key, regardless of if you're buying. If you're really passionate, it just kind of comes out naturally. Like with me, I'm always stoked, so always excited and enthusiastic about the hobby, and that's really helped me build connections too, strengthens existing connections and build new ones. And there's no ulterior motive there. It's just that, you know, as people, as humans, we can become more attracted to other people when they're welcoming to us. That's been my experience, and it's worked out for me a lot. I've had a lot of life experience leading up to this, so I'm just going to take it with me into the hobby. Don't want you to feel like I'm trailing off here. I just think these are like little thoughts that I'm kind of throwing out there. Maybe you can catch a few if you want. Not, that's fine too. But anyway, that's my coverage of Day 2 of the 2017 National Sports Collectors Convention. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and until next time, enjoy collecting.